never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, as you can see, I'm still grizzly as all get up because it's torrential downpours outside. And the wind is nuts. Like, it's super windy. If anybody else is getting this kind of weather, let me know. It's freaking nuts outside. Days like this are perfect for sleeping. Like, this is perfect sleeping weather. But I digress. So, a couple things to talk about here today. First, let's get into some Yang news. So, Yang had tweeted something. He had tweeted an article, and I decided to delve into that article. I decided to read that article, and it actually made for a pretty good read. And pretty much it's what this thumbnail is talking about that you clicked on and watched this video. The virus is actually speeding things up that Yang was warning us about. And, you know, we're busy trying to survive. We're busy trying to get these checks and pay off bills, etc. But the potential outcome of what's going on for the future, it's not looking so great. And this article really gets into that. So it states, job loss from automation, self-sustaining influencers, and life replacement gaming will all be fast-tracked by this pandemic. And so Yang, in his book, The War on Normal People, kind of touched upon this, some of the things we're going to be talking about. But a guy by the name of Scott Galloway was also talking about the virus and how it's going to accelerate a number of big changes. And that also correlates with what Yang was talking about in The War on Normal People. And he was talking about the coming threat to everyday jobs from automation, and said that there's a lot of tech out there that does automation of various functions, but that many managers are set in their way and won't migrate to them unless there was a crisis, like an economic shutdown or a recession that forces business owners to lay off people anyway. The idea is that once that happens and the company gets stripped down to its bare essentials, then when it comes time to staff back up, a lot of businesses will be looking at automation. So let's stop right there. So pretty much what it's saying is this was going to come anyway. But, you know, a recession or a pandemic, what we're going through right now is going to strip a lot of jobs down. And when it comes time to build back up, a lot of these places are going to go towards automation instead of people. And so they give an example. So maybe there was automated customer service options, but you didn't want to fire your support people. Maybe there was automated HR software or accounting software, but you didn't want to fire your people. But once you have to let them go anyway, you'll absolutely be using these new tools if you are lucky enough to be able to rebuild. So let's look at some other trends in society that were likely to happen anyway that could get accelerated by the virus. The adoption of automation and AI. Companies use more non-human options to handle the routine parts of their businesses, which is like the example I just gave. Basic income. More people are out of work and they need income for basic survival or some freedom to invest in growing themselves into a better career. The rise of audience-supported influencers. So more people develop followings, doing their particular thing, and each of these people pays them a small amount per month or per year to get that content. Sort of like YouTube influencers, they're going to become even more prevalent. I kind of fit into that bubble. I'm a content creator, and so you're going to see more and more people like that sprout. The rise of esports. Esports are going to get even more popular and faster because of the downtime from traditional sports. More people can participate and observe in more types of competitions outside of the constraints of reality. He also touches upon gaming and MMORPGs, and more people are going to delve into that. More people are going to delve into that reality. than the reality we're in now. So yeah, a lot of things are going to be sped up because of this virus. This virus definitely will hasten the transition. And the gentleman that was speaking on this, he says something that I think rings true. He said, "This is why a global pandemic can serve as a catalyst and an accelerator for this transition. It's just one more thing making reality worse for most people. And meanwhile, tech advancement continues to make digital escape more appealing." So look, I'm not against some of these things. Like obviously, I'm not against creating. I'm doing that right now. Obviously, I'm not against gaming. Obviously, I'm not against that stuff. But the worrisome part is when this all blows over, how many people are actually going back to work, and how many jobs are going to be lost permanently from this, and then replaced by automation. It's a lot to think about, and we're really in the now right now, and I understand why we're in the now because of this virus, but man, this is going to have long term effects. This is going to affect us for a long time. I think in New York they just announced that schools canceled for the entire year. I'm pretty sure that just happened. Um, I know that not all parents are happy about that. If that's true, but man, and then I just read an article saying like we may not be out of this until like July, possibly August, like out of the like a sense of normalcy. Um, Man, that's a long time. That's a long time. It's a long time. But it's already the article is already on the money. One of the things I talk about that was going to accelerate it was basic income. What did Spain just do? Basic income. So the article is on the money, and we sort of have to bend with it and survive until we can get somebody like a Yang in there, because who they're trying to shove down our throat, it's no bueno. Which is an easy transition to the next thing I'm talking about. I don't know if you guys have seen, but Bernie Sanders has endorsed Joe Biden. I actually have a clip of the endorsement. Let's take a look, and then we're going to come back.
So today I am asking all Americans, I'm asking every Democrat, I'm asking every independent, I'm asking a lot of Republicans to come together in this campaign to support your candidacy, which I endorse, to make certain that we defeat somebody who I believe, and I'm speaking just for myself now, is the most dangerous president in the modern history of this country. A president, and you made this point, who downplayed this pandemic, who ignored the advice that some of his people were giving him, who has not used the Defense Production Act early on so that we could produce the masks, the gowns, the gloves, the ventilators that our medical personnel desperately need, who today, because I understand that is threatening to fire Dr. Fauci, who has been an unbelievable, who has been day after day the voice of science to the American people, trying to explain how we go forward in this crisis. And he's threatening to fire him. So to me, for all of those reasons and so many more, a president who doesn't, apparently has never read the Constitution of the United States, who believes he's above the law, a president who lies all of the time, a president who has at least shown me that he is a racist and a sexist and a homophobe and a xenophobe and a religious bigot. I mean, for all of those reasons or more, we've got to make Trump a one-term president, and we need you in the White House. So I will do all that I can to see that happens, Joe. And I know that there is an enormous responsibility on your shoulders right now. And it's imperative that all of us work together.
So let me start off by saying I have never seen such praise for Bernie Sanders from 2016 till now. Never during any of those years, ever in existence, have I seen any big media platform give Bernie Sanders as much praise as he's getting today. It's almost kind of sickening. They're like, oh, Bernie, yes, good sir, yes, yes, you understand, Bernie. You're not that bad. You're quite a good fellow. I've never seen such fawning praise for Bernie Sanders before he gave his endorsement to Joe Biden. Now suddenly they love some Bernie. Bernie's not that bad. Bernie's not that bad. Bernie's a good guy. Bernie's great. Bernie's great. Fall the fucking line. Yeah. It's no surprise to me. We knew he was going to bend the knee. He wanted a revolution, but he's not the person that can create a revolution. It's not him. If anything, he can be a catalyst to that, but it's not him. And he's shown that during his run. Right? He was too soft in a lot of areas. So yeah, he's getting a lot of praise. I think on Twitter it was like trending like good for Bernie. Good for Bernie what? What's good for Bernie? What is good for Bernie? I don't understand what's good for Bernie. I don't get it. What a ridiculous trend. And then in the same tweets that are saying good for Bernie, they're shitting on his supporters. They're like, good for Bernie. See, you get it. You understand. Not like your shithead, fucktard supporters. Yeah. Way to make them vote for Biden. It's not happening. It's not happening. Now, look. Again, I'm not surprised by the endorsement. We all knew it was coming. I don't even think Warren has endorsed anybody yet. Bernie Sanders endorsed Joe Biden before Elizabeth Warren did. She just didn't endorse anybody. But what this leads me to is a decision. And I've seen the comments. I've even talked to some of you guys back and forth. I've seen the comments on Twitter. I've seen the comments on my YouTube videos. I've seen the comments on Facebook. What are you going to do? Read my lips. Are you going to vote for Joe Biden? Because we have the courts to think about. We got the courts to think about. We have the environment to think about. There's all these important things you got to consider. Man, and I got to tell you, it is a lot to think about. Now, look, I don't play red versus blue, right? I'm not on a team. I go for the candidate that best suits my interests and that I agree with. And I had my top three. None of them got through. Look, what you have to understand is they know those things are important to a lot of people and important in general. So the Dem Party propped up and shoved this person in your face and shit on Andrew Yang. They shit on Yang, undeniably. They shit on Bernie. They shit on Tulsi. They shit on these people, and then they say to themselves, I know you don't fucking like Biden. I know you don't like Biden. But you're going to do it anyways. You're going to shut up and do it. The courts! The courts! You got the courts to consider. Come on, you got to do it. Just shh. Shut the fuck up and do it. Just do it. The environment. What about the environment? They know these things. They know this. So it's not about being woke. It's not about being growing up. At some point, you got to take a stand. At some point, you got to, if they want to burn the house down, you might have to let them burn the house down. Sometimes you have to take a moral standpoint. And we did it in 2015. We did it in 2016. We swallowed it, and a lot of people voted for Hillary Clinton. As it stands right now, unless something absolutely drastic changed, I don't see myself doing it. Now, if you're one of those people where these things you just have to make a move on, the courts and the environment, and you're gonna swallow it and vote blue no matter what anyway, I'm not blaming you. I'm not gonna judge you. I'm not gonna look at you any differently. It is your right, whether you want to vote or not, whether you don't want to vote or not, whether you want to write in Yang. It is your right to do as you see fit, and nobody else can tell you otherwise, and nobody else should shame you for doing what you want to do and how you want to do it. I'm not here to judge you. If you want to vote for Biden, you go right ahead. I'm still going to talk about how shitty of a candidate he is, but if you want to vote for Biden, that's fine. If you end up voting for Trump, that's your choice as well. I'm still going to talk about how shitty he is, but that's your choice as well. And in this scenario where you have that lesser of two evils talk again, I'm going to let you do you. You do what you have your own line. And you draw the line in the sand where you see fit. And I'm gonna acknowledge it, and you do what you have to do in this kind of scenario. So like I was talking to some of the gang, and like we were saying, it's a shame that we the people, us, that we have to come to the rescue again. So they had this shitty candidate. They did all this. They shoved this 70-plus-year-old man with dementia down our throat. And we don't like him. We don't want to vote for him. He doesn't share the same values as we do. But we have to come to the rescue and vote for him to save these other things. And like somebody else was saying, like, we have to come to the rescue when all these other people cast this horrible vote for Biden. We got to come to the rescue, and we got to vote for him when he wasn't even our candidate because of the courts and the environment and stuff like that. I think Kyle Kalinske said it the best. He even articulated it better than me. I'm going to play a small clip for you as to how I feel, and Kyle's literally going to say it, and then we're going to come back.
In the general election. Well, I will most likely not be voting. I will probably not be voting. Is that subject to change? Potentially. It's possible that when we get closer to the date, certain things could happen, and then I can say, yeah, I changed my mind, and I'm going to go vote. I think that if I do vote, the most likely scenario will be that I'm voting for some sort of third party. But I do think that the majority likelihood is that I will not be voting in the general election. Now, why is that? Well, guys, listen, the answer is very simple. I am kind of a social democrat. That's where my politics lie. Although according to one political compass test that I took recently, and what I'm going to do is I'll take a political compass test for you guys on air soon. And so you can see, where I am on the issues and whatnot. But according to this other political compass test, it was a new one that I just recently took. I'm actually a libertarian socialist. So that would mean I'm right in alignment with, like, Noam Chomsky. But anyway, bottom line is, I fancy myself a social democrat or a populist left, and Joe Biden is a neoliberal corporatist. So I simply don't agree with him. I don't agree with him. So I don't know why I'd vote for him. I don't agree with him. It's that simple. In the case of Donald Trump, at this point, he's basically a standard Republican. He has like a handful of issues where he deviates from the orthodoxy. But by and large, he's a standard Republican. I mean, if you look at his Twitter feed and you look at his rallies and you look at some of his rhetoric, he's not. But that stuff is irrelevant. I care about voting record and I care about policies. And so ultimately, he falls more in the standard Republican camp than people think. So if Trump is a standard Republican and Biden's a neoliberal corporatist, I'm just not represented. So if I'm not represented, I'm not going to go out of my way to cast a vote. Now, I will say this to everybody. I'm not going to blame you if you want to vote for Biden, because I do understand that some people will say, listen, the courts are way too important and climate change is way too important. So even though I despise him, I'll suck it up and vote for him. By all means, I'm not going to argue against you on that. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing, and you can make your own, calculation, and you have your own judgment, and you decide what you want to do. I think there are going to be some people in my audience who decide to vote Biden. I think there are going to be some people who vote third party. I think there's going to be some people who sit out. Joe Rogan, his politics, he fancies himself very similar to me on the political spectrum, and he says he's not voting, but he says he would prefer Trump beat Biden because Biden, with his cognitive decline, he thinks that's such a giant risk that you can't go in that direction. So me personally, I'm just gonna sit it out because I'm not represented. Now, some people will hear that and they'll be mad at me, and they'll say, come on, man, like how could you say such a thing? And they'll say I'm helping Trump. Yeah, but the Trump people could say the exact opposite. They could say, you're helping Biden. Oh, you're sitting out, you're not voting for Trump, you're helping Biden. When I tell you guys I don't agree with Biden, I say it because I don't agree with Biden. I'm populist left, I'm a social democrat, he's a neoliberal corporatist. So I don't owe him anything. And this idea of you always, come on, is the lesser evil for a reason. You have to vote for the lesser evil. Okay, well, if you want to be consistent in that logic, one of the things I tweeted yesterday, because Mehdi Hassan made that argument, lesser evil's the lesser evil. Okay, so what if it was Richard Spencer versus David Duke? Who would you vote for? Now, some people go, that's a cheap point. But it's really not, because what you're doing is you're testing the logic of that argument. And in order to do that, you stretch it. You stretch the argument. Okay, let's make it a slightly more absurd scenario than Biden versus Trump. Let's make the scenario two, basically white nationalist racists. Who do you support? Now, my guess is everybody who says, oh, you got to play the lesser evil game, all of a sudden they're like, neither. I don't want either one. So, point is, everybody has moral red lines. It's just a matter of where you draw those red lines. And some people's standards are stricter and stronger than other people's standards. Now, again, I just told you, I'm not going to judge you however you want to vote. It's fine. But I'm just telling you what my calculation is and what I'm doing.
So, yeah. How I feel right now is I can't do it. I just can't. I can't. And if you do, then I understand. But I can't. Unless he's got to do something. He's got to do something. I mean, he doesn't care about universal basic income. He said even if Medicare for All came across his desk, meaning it passed everywhere else, he still wouldn't do it. He's got to do something. And he's got to know that a lot of Bernie supporters aren't just going to fuck with him, right? And he's got to also know a lot of the Yang Gang ain't going to fuck with him. So he's got to do something and make a promise on something that can shift me, where I can cast this vote and live with myself. Because they damn well knew from the beginning, it doesn't matter if we get the wrong person and they hate the person we pick out for them because the courts, the environment, the this, the that. And they knew we'd fall in line like little... We can't sit here and shit on Bernie for falling in line while we're falling in line. You can't do that. So, I've got a lot of soul searching to do. A lot of soul searching. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I may feel different. Something may happen and I'll feel different. But as it stands right now, neither one of those two people, Trump or Joe Biden, has anything, not anything, going for them that I can be like, okay, all right. I just don't see it. So I just wanted to address that because I know a lot of you have been, commenting, and I respect all of your opinions. I humbly respect all your opinions. And even if we disagree, we can agree to disagree, and we can move on, and we can still have it be Yang 2024. So, I respect everyone coming out and saying something, and I respect your decisions as to how you're going to cast your vote as well. But I just wanted to share how I felt about it. And yeah, Bernie Sanders endorses handsy Uncle Joe Biden. It's a shame because, as of right now, the Tara Reid thing is swept under the rug, and Bernie knew he was gonna push for Biden after he dropped out. They all knew they were gonna push for Biden, so these people can't even speak on it. These people can't even come out and speak on it. It's a shame. But yeah, let me know. Let this video be the video where you let me know who you're casting your vote for, if you're casting a vote. Are you writing in Yang? Are you gonna vote for Biden because you just feel Donald Trump is an existential threat? Are you not voting at all? These kind of things that just happened, like this whole thing that just happened, from the endorsement to putting your trust and faith into a candidate, etc. This is why a lot of people tune out. I need you guys to understand that. This is why a lot of people tune out. Even people that were into politics that I know, they just tuned out. They don't give a fuck anymore. They're just done with it. It's because they see it's all bullshit, and they're done with it, and they've really tuned out. And things like this are going to keep people tuning out, especially the minorities I speak to, especially the minorities. They're tuned the fuck out. They're done. They're done. Because no matter what decision they do, they often get shamed for it. So they're like, I don't want any part of it. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to think about. Really think about it. And that'll be that. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Just hip thrust that like button. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel. Every little bit helps, especially nowadays. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.